is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name is Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellania. Today I'm coming at you with a kit up and chat because I've got a bunch of things done and I had to kit a bunch of things down. So now I'm going to kit something up new. And it's going to be Which Bedroom by Mrs. Butter D. Oh, I am super excited to work on this one. I can't even tell you. I am going to be so excited to do it. For those of you who are not familiar with a kit up and chat or a whip and chat or what have you, kit up and chat just means I'm going to kit up my project while I chat with you about my week because I do this weekly. So if you are unfamiliar with this particular program, you can go back in the playlist and start from the very beginning and listen to snippets about my boring ass life and craziness that is me. Welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you're coming back to see me. Thank you for coming back to see me. That all being said, I am going to work on kitting up this piece, and then I am going to read a tarot card at the end as our thought for the week. So for now, I will put these to the side while I kit this up because I don't need those right now. Okay, guys, so Which Bedroom is about the cutest dang thing I've ever seen. I'm super excited to work on it. It's just a little one. I felt like doing something a little easy, quick win, sort of thing. But yeah, I'm beyond excited to get to work on this. So if you are coming back to see me, hi, how was your week? If you're new, how in the heck was your week? Do tell, do share, say anything, guys. That's what the comment box is down there for. I had kind of a busy week. I've told you before that it's sort of like when it rains, it pours. It's either like nothing is going on or everything is going on because that's just the way that my life operates. It's getting to be warmer weather now, so that's really when things start to like massively speed up for me. I become more active. I live in Wisconsin, so like the weather is not the type of weather that especially in colder months where you're spending a lot of time outdoors. So I sort of save it up and do all of the things in like the warmer, closer to spring and summer months. Now, our springs are coming on fast and hard now. It used to be we would get kind of a mild spring into a nice summer and then, kind of go from there. But, I'm not going to get political. I'm not going to challenge anybody's beliefs or anything like that, but the climate is changing. It's very obvious. I think I don't think you have to be a scientist to know that if you're experiencing warmer weather or even colder weather than you're used to in months that you're not used to it, that the climate is changing. But it is getting to be, it's mid-May, and the weather is jumping up around like the 80s already here. And then it'll drop to, 40 degrees the next day. It's very weird. It's very wacky and yo-yo type weather. So this is also kind of from February until June-ish is our heavy like tornado season. So don't want to be dealing with no tornadoes. But that being said, because it's getting warmer, I am getting busier. I have two very active dogs that need walked around, and it's hard to just ignore them, leave them inside the house, and then go do things myself if I'm not going to be willing to be a responsible pet owner and take my dogs out when they need to go walking. Then I shouldn't own them. So now Beans is a Great Pyrenees, so he doesn't need to be walked as far or as often as my Border Collie, but he appreciates being taken for a mile or two, and that's good for him. And Bowie, my border collie, she's much the same. Like, she would be happy with a mile or two each day, and it's really fantastic for their brains because Beans is an unaltered male, meaning he is not fixed, because he is a giant breed dog, and the longer that you can put that off, the better. And so, whoops, and so I'm waiting as long as I can, although starting to exhibit some behaviors that I really don't like, such as, like when there are people passing by our house, he barks, but that's kind of normal. But when he thinks it's somebody like on a bike or a scooter sort of situation, he can become really scary sounding. He will growl, he'll run to the end of his leash, he'll pull really hard to get at people, and it can be really scary if you don't know that he's just kind of loud and mostly stupid. But I told him today, you know, either the behavior is going to have to stop or you're going to have to get the great lobbing. And I don't want to do that to him until I absolutely have to, because I'm trying to give his growth plates time to grow. If you hear extra sounds like train horn, it's because my windows are open. It's too freaking hot and stuffy in here to keep the windows closed. So sorry if you don't like train horns. But yeah, so his behavior has been a little bit extra lately. So I'm just trying to keep an eye on it. You know, I would never let him get to a point where he could hurt someone, injure someone. Like, he'll lose his junk far before that happens. But I'm just keeping an eye on things because I think that's what a responsible pet owner should do. But yeah, so that has been fun. But it was a busy week for me. I did things this week I never thought I would do. And that's actually kind of, I don't know, fun and exciting for me because I've spoken plenty about autism and what that's like and how I cope with things and do things. And this week was really like I hit some milestones, and I'm very proud of that. So on Friday, Dustin and I took the dogs for a walk like we always do. And generally, you know, Beans is on leash all the time. One, because again, he can be really dumb when it comes to bikes or other dogs. He can be reactive if they're being reactive on a leash. And so he stays on leash, but Bowie, she can go off leash. Well, I had her off leash. She's running around doing her thing, whatever. And we went down to the river where we always walk. And there's this footpath through the woods, which we like to go on. And we let Beans go and get his silly butt in the river because that's what he likes to do. So he goes. How's that feel, Beans? Beans? How are you enjoying that? He's just like, I'm still swimming in it. He likes to do. So he goes, he plunks down in the river, and I decided to walk a little bit further down the path with just Bowie, you know, just walking her around. And we decided to turn around and head back toward the car. And all of a sudden, I looked down, and there was a morel mushroom. Now, I don't know the first thing about foraging, but I know what a morel looks like. They're a very distinctive mushroom, okay? And I found 3 total morels in that. That would be him complaining about something. Not really sure what the bellyache is about. Give me just one quick moment. Okay, again, I wish I knew what the belly aching crap was about, but that's just what he's been doing lately. Anyways, so 3 big morel mushrooms. Here's a picture. I decided, you know what? I'm gonna bring them home. I've never had morels. I wanted to try them. I was willing. I thought, okay, I'll cook them the way, you know, a friend on Discord told me this is how you should prepare them. So that's what I did. Ended up breading them and frying them in butter, and they were so freaking good. I was honestly, like, I had prepped myself to, like, start gagging. The minute I put it in my mouth, I was waiting for, like, mushroom texture. I was waiting for mushroom flavor. None of that. None of that at all. And I was honestly pleasantly surprised with the taste. It was like eating chicken skin almost, like fried chicken skin. And I don't know if that was because of the way that I had prepared them or what was going on, but it was really good. I was really surprised. So I told the in-laws about it, and apparently neither of them have ever had, like, wild morels. So we thought, okay, well, that was Friday. I'm like, well, maybe we can go, like, later, couple days from now, and just actually go do some looking around, because we had a busy weekend planned, lots of stuff going on. Well, that was Friday. Found some morels, cooked some morels. Saturday, we decided, okay, it's beautiful weather. Let's get the heck out of town and let's go to one of our favorite places, which is Lion's Den Gorge. And Lion's Den Gorge, if you do not recall from past Whippin' Chats, is on Lake Michigan. It's in a place called Grafton, Wisconsin, north of Milwaukee. And we go there so that we can do a quick little hike in, you know, it's like you walk over this, like, plank bridge over a wetland, right? And then you basically walk straight out to a cliff, a bluff, right? Beautiful view of Lake Michigan in front of you. Panoramic view of the sky, you know, the lake. It is gorgeous blue water, clear, crystal clear, just fresh, clean, gorgeous. So then you walk along the top of the ridge, and then eventually you go down through the woods, and you make your way down these stairs, and you get to the beach. Now, this isn't the kind of beach that, like, necessarily you would want to, like, swim in yet. It's still far too cold. Like, the water, it was 60 degrees there, 61 degrees, something like that, which was warm enough, but you would not want to go, like, swimming in that weather. I mean, Beans did. He always does. But it is not, like, unless you really like going in cold water, it's not something that a person would generally enjoy. So, no, I did not go swimming. But what we usually go there for is to take Beans, go for a hike, you know, enjoy ourselves, whatever. But, yeah, we ended up getting down to the water. And, of course, Beans makes his way right in. Here is probably some pictures, maybe a video. And after he, you know, plunks himself in the water and enjoys himself in the waves, we did what we usually do, which is, you know, we walked probably a mile down down the beach through the sand and rocks, and then eventually, you know, we sit down. Usually we'll look for rocks or whatever, and rocks or whatever. And um, I was looking, that time I was looking at some driftwood because I really wanted to grab some driftwood for our, we have 3 leopard geckos, and I'd like to do some rearranging and cleaning up of their tank, and just, you know, making it new for them, giving them some interest, you know, keep their brains going, whatever. And I found these amazing pieces of driftwood. I don't have a picture, but, you know, it doesn't really so much matter. I love the driftwood. It looks amazing, and I think it's going to look really good in the tank. I thought about going to grab it, but it's whatever. Anyways, I found, okay, I've told you, I don't know how many different times, that Dustin is always looking for a hagstone, okay, which is a stone that has a hole in it. And through this hagstone, you're supposed to be able to look through the hole, and you're supposed to either be able to see the land of fairies or to see witches, if, you know, that's what you're looking for. And every time he's always looking for a stone with a hole in it. Well, check this out. I have it hanging up behind me. I put a little, I put it on a necklace, but okay, I told him, I guess I win at the hagstone game, because this is the stone that I found with a hole straight through it. I mean, you could not get a better, more pronounced hagstone. Like, it's almost not fully together, but it is like perfect. And so, yeah, I put it on a necklace. I was like, oh my gosh, I found the perfect hagstone. I didn't want to put it on like the thinner part because I was worried I would maybe like break it in case it, you know, hit impact or something like that. But the back is very flat, and it's just so interesting. So I thought, okay, I will loop it through, and then I'll loop it through the larger part so that I don't have to worry about breaking it. But I keep it hanging up behind me. Just, I think it's really cool. I found that. I found some driftwood. It was, all in all, it was a good day. I cannot complain about that. It was a beautiful day. And so, you know, it's always nice when you have a nice warm day at the beach and you get to hang out with, you know, your loved one and any pets you might have. You know, it's just, it was a good time. It was a really good time. But we did that on Saturday, and then Sunday was Mother's Day. Now, Mother's Day can be really tough for me. I lost my mom in 2019 on March 6th. But as you can see, my mom's birthday is 5/15, which is, well, if you're watching this on Wednesday, the 14th, then it is tomorrow, right? And her birthday usually falls on or around Mother's Day. And, you know, like, I don't, it's been 6 years now, and so it is definitely easier, I think, to kind of cope and deal with Mother's Day. But I'll get into that a little bit more in a little bit. I want to talk about what was not more important, but important about Mother's Day this year, which was important about Mother's Day last year. And that was that my oldest, her significant other, graduated from college. His name is Arturo, and he graduated magna cum laude from Beloit College, which is where my daughter graduated. And we got to go and see him graduate, and that was really, really cool. sorry, today is the 13th, but you seeing, well, it's releasing on the 14th. You could be watching it whenever, but today's the 13th. Anyways, Aurora's dad came, and I did get one picture, which I will pop up on the screen right here and explain. So Aurora's dad came, and she was looking for Arturo in the audience, and she's standing on a chair. And you can see her standing on a chair next to her dad, and she's like literally, I don't know, 3 inches taller than he is on a chair because that's how short we are. Her dad is like 6'3", and she's probably, I don't know, 5'4", something like that. I'm shorter than she is, but I did find that highly amusing. But yeah, I got to see him graduate. That was really cool, but it was hard because we stood in like the back of the crowd or whatever for many hours. It was like it was like a 3-hour ceremony. It was long. Actually, I'm gonna it was a long ceremony. I feel like we were there for a long time. It was a really long go of it. I'm going to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. Otherwise, what am I doing here? But yeah, it was really long ago that we stood there and watched proceedings, things like that. I mean, it was totally worth it, but standing in one place, because I don't like to sit. I especially don't like to sit inside of large crowds. And so we stood in the back, which was what we did before, and it worked out fine. I don't, it's not like, you know, I'm not gonna panic necessarily in a large group, but I just really don't like to stand or sit inside of large groups of people if I can help it. Like, if I can avoid that, I'm gonna. So we were standing in the back, and there are native burial grounds all over the campus. In fact, they have a really cool museum inside of the campus grounds where it's an anthropology museum that has all of the things that they have pulled out of some of the various mounds on campus. And there was one mound right in front of where we stood, and the problem with the mounds, they put up these like sort of like a velvet rope situation. It wasn't velvet rope, but it was that sort of like standees with rope on them saying, you know, please stay off the mounds. They were sacred burial mounds, etc., etc. But the one that we were standing right behind was like so short to the ground in comparison to the others, which you could see very clearly had a hump. If you're unfamiliar with native burial mounds, our state has, I think, the most in the country. We have a lot of burial mounds in the state. And they are where Native people were buried and honored. They were usually an important person in that tribe, and they were honored by, you know, things being buried with them. And so the one that was in front of us, they had this, like, you know, standee set up with rope on it and signs that said, please stay off the mounds. But because the mound was so short, people couldn't really tell what it was, and they only had 2 standees, and it was like, but it covered the front and it covered the back, and there was this huge area that just people walked straight through. So myself and this other woman, we ended up moving the standees so that, because it looked like it was funneling people straight through. Like, that's where they were supposed to go. So we had blocked off one side over here, and then where it opened back up and people were trying to cross through, I stood here and she stood on the opposite side of the mound. And as people were kind of milling about in the crowd or whatever and trying to walk through by us, we were like, no, this is a burial mound, you know, please don't walk on the burial mounds, yada, yada, yada. Some people were respectful and were like, oh my gosh. Like, one woman, I'm almost positive she was African, and I don't mean African American, I mean like legitimately African, she wasn't understanding what I was saying. She said, burial mound, burial mound. And I said, bad juju. And she completely understood what that meant. And, juju, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. We're speaking the same language here. But it was, it was cool. I felt like it was important to me, I guess. I'm a quarter Native person. Not to this tribe here in Wisconsin, but I am a quarter Native, and I do care about, what I do know of the culture that I come from. And uh, I mean, I don't come from this state, but I'm like a state over. And I thought it was very important to honor the ancestors and to make sure that people were not just being complete pricks and walking over top of the burial mounds, whether they had people in them or not. Like, the whole point was, like, please stay off the mounds. Don't be a prick. Well, one dude, young kid, wearing sunglasses, I'm like, he didn't have headphones on or anything. Like, there was no reason he couldn't hear me. He like legitimately steps over the standee and starts walking toward me. And I was like, excuse me, can you get off the mound? And he just ignored me completely and kept walking. And as he was walking past, I was like, it's a Native burial mound. It's sacred to Native people. And then he went about doing whatever the hell he was doing. And when he came back, I think I don't know, took a minute to like think about something other than himself and actually like went around it. Or he was afraid that I was going to maybe drop kick him. I don't know, because I was ready to. But it was a beautiful ceremony. And I know Aurora was also very emotional about it because, well, one, he's graduating, which means that they're both now done with college, and she doesn't know how to be anything but a student. You know what I mean? Like, that's what her life has been. And so I'm really hoping that she can find something to, fill the time and keep herself busy, because it can be hard when you're just getting out of college or high school and you don't know what the hell you're doing. You're just like kind of faking your way through, But that all said, that was Sunday, Mother's Day. And again, I will circle back to talking about Mother's Day in a moment, but Monday, we finally get some time. We stopped over to Dustin's parents' house on Sunday to wish his mother happy Mother's Day. We had gotten her a succulent, a cactus, of course, and potted it for her, brought that over, and told them about the mushrooms. And that's when they told us, like, they'd never had morels, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my goodness. Well, I was like, Monday, I said to Dustin after he was done with work, like, why don't we go back out and let me see if I can find something. I'll, see if I can find them some so that they can try some morels. And he was like, all right, sounds good. Got the things I needed to get. I took a knife this time instead of like pulling them up out of the ground so that, I could get them next year if they grow back in the same place. And anyways, so I had bags, I had a knife, I was like all ready to go, and we went back out on the path where I found the 3 morels from Friday. Well, so I'm looking. We ended up walking 2 miles out, so we had to walk 2 miles back, but I did not find any morels. But I did find something called a Dryads saddle. Here's a picture. A Dryads saddle, and it's also known as a pheasant back mushroom. Now, this is supposed to be a consolation prize for people who cannot find morels, because the season for both Dryad saddle and morels is a very short season. And so, you might find one and not the other, and that was the consolation. Well, I had not cooked them yet to eat them, You have a couple of days, like window, if you put them in a Ziploc and you put a wet paper towel in there and you keep them cold, then, you know, you got a couple of good days. I'm going to try and cook them tomorrow, which for you is today, and see how it goes, because I'm very, very, very interested to try them. I guess they taste of pork or chicken. So, and they're not mushy. They're not supposed to be mushy, because that's the thing I can't do with regular, like, button mushrooms. Blech, can't do it. Can't do it. But today, Dustin and I go for another walk. Oh my God, it was so funny. We're going for another walk with the dogs. I thought, nah, you know, I'll keep my eye out. Maybe we'll see another, you know, morel or something. Well, we're walking down the path, and the bugs are starting to get a little bad, like mayflies or whatever. And every time there's a bike or a person or whatever, he'll like give me a heads up, because I'm holding on to Bowie, or sometimes she's off the leash, and he'll let me know, like, you know, bike or person, runner, whatever. Well, today he goes, runner, and I look up, and then all of a sudden he goes, and I was like, what the hell was that? And I was like, thinking, like, why are you gagging at this runner? Like, what the hell just happened? Well, I was like, what was that? He's like, bug flew right in my mouth. I was trying not to swallow it. I was like, so you, like, gagged at the... It's like, the dude probably thinks you were gagging at him, because he just goes, runner. He's like, I was just trying to blow air out instead of suck air in, so I didn't actually inhale it. It's like, oh my God. This guy probably thinks you're just gagging at him. Probably thinks you're a dick. Oh, man. I was laughing. Anyways, so it was a busy weekend. But all in all, it was a good one. Where am I at for time here? Oh, we're at a half hour. Okay. So anyways, a heads up, and I'll be making a post about this. I'm going to postpone Gods and Goddesses for a month. And here's why. Sarah was doing some looking around, and she found a event that I guess has been going on since last year, and it's called Myths and Stars. And I will post some information, a link down in the description to the Facebook page for Myths and Stars. It is actually an event that is for zodiac. Wait, let me read it. It's for... Ah, dang it. Let's try this again. There we go. It is for... Goodness. Okay, it is for a canvas that represents the theme of fantasy, myths, mythology, zodiac, or astrology. And I thought, okay, well, I mean, the zodiac fits in with gods and goddesses, you know, myths, legends, it all kind of fits. And it's running June 1st to June 30th. There's no new start required. There's no finishes required. They're doing prizes on YouTube, I think, or Facebook, one or the other. It's on Instagram and Facebook, so not YouTube. But that being said, I didn't want to step all over their event. That I feel like that would be really rude. It's run by someone named Mandy, I believe. And I just didn't want to step all over them. They have a bunch of the same sponsors that I would be reaching out to, and I didn't want to be that jerk, you know, that like steps all over somebody else's diamond painting event. So that being said, I'm going to postpone to July 1st. And then that way, if you're working on a canvas that is a god or goddess, or, you know, something that you're using to represent a god or goddess, then you can do both. You can start with their event, and then you can work into having another 2 months to finish the same canvas. So bonus, right? So go and check the link that I'm putting down in the description for Myths and Stars. And it, like I said, it's running June 1st to June 30th. I like I said, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. So that being said, I'm moving my event to July 1st, and I will be giving you rules and information and all of that very, very soon so that you don't have to worry or wonder. Yeah, I just thought it was the right thing to do. You know, I would be really hurt if somebody was to do an event that was basically the same event as mine at the same time. Like, you couldn't have the common courtesy to look to see whether or not there was something else happening or whatever. And it's a little different because, no, it's not on YouTube, but it's a common courtesy. You know what I mean? Like, just don't be dicks to each other, and then we can all do events and have fun, right? So anyways, that being said, if you are looking forward to starting on June 1st, you totally still can and should. And you should go and join their event, okay? Tell them Naomi sent you. They're not going to know who Naomi is, so that's even better. They'll be completely clueless, like, what? Why is Naomi sending you? But you should check out their event. I'm sorry that I don't know who the hosts are. My invite, or not my invite, I tried to join, but my thing is pending, so I can't give you more information right now. But anyways, I'm telling you, his behavior, Beans' behavior lately has been so beyond extra. It's like stupid. It's so stupid. I mean, part of me knows that this is just something that you deal with Great Pyrenees. Like, they're just kind of barky, they're whiny, they make sounds to let you know what's happening with them. And so I can't be upset that he's behaving like a dog, you know, like a Pyrenees, but it also is really annoying when I'm trying to do something and he's just whining, or he's barking, or making noise for no discernible good reason. It is really frustrating. And, you know, like, part of me has always said, like, oh my God, I would love to have another Great Pyrenees. And then the other part of me is like, are you nuts? Are you cracked or something? Like, what is wrong with you? Why would you want to do that to yourself? To be honest, don't even know. Not even sure, but I do love him. He's just a butt pain sometimes, you know. So anyways, back to talking a little bit about Mother's Day, because this is another really good opportunity for me to talk a little bit about mental health, okay? As it is May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. I've said before that my mom had some mental health issues, and primary of which were bipolar 1. And then other than that was borderline personality disorder. Now, like I said, it's been 6 years since I lost my mom. And, you know, I'm not going to be that person that tells you, like, oh, it gets better. I feel like that really depends on how you deal with grief and what that means to you. But for me, I handle death a little bit differently because I've worked with elderly people, and I understand pretty firmly that, you know, death is another stage to living. And so there's, you know, there's grieving that you do, and you do it in a healthy way. And I don't say you get over it. It doesn't get better. It gets different, you know? And so, one, I'm very grateful to my mother. Yes, there were a lot of flaws with the way that I was raised, but she also did, like, the best she could with the tools that she had. And so, like, this little group of months, you know, March, April, and May, it can be a little bit strange for me because, you know, my mom died in March. Her birthday was in May. And so I struggle, I feel like, each year to find a way to honor her. And I think that as I keep going each year, I think the best way for me to honor my mom is, one, not to pretend like she didn't exist and to kind of sweep it under the rug and stay mad about the things that I was mad about, or sad about the things that I'm sad about. I think it's better to talk about why it's so vital to pay attention to what your body and your brain are telling you. Now, I talked last time about like what therapy is and what therapy isn't, because I learned a lot about what therapy should not be from watching my mom go to therapy. I think this time what I want to talk about is that that struggling with mental health is normal, and that there's no shame in struggling, and that there needs to be more normal conversation around the expression, how are you doing? And here's what I mean by that. I hate when people ask, how are you doing? And it's not because, I think that it's a rude thing to ask, except when you don't give a shit how somebody is doing. Because we've normalized asking, how are you doing? As meaning like, give me the barest information about your day, or give me the barest information about what you've been up to since the last time I seen you in a brief descriptor, and then move the frick on. Like, I don't actually care how you're doing. I'm just being polite. Because I struggle, okay, with understanding whether you actually want to know how I'm doing, or if you just want me to give you like information about the last time that we spoke to each other to now, and that's it. If you want to know how I'm doing, and you say, how are you doing? You might actually get a response. And then what do you do with that? You know what I mean? What do you do with that? Are you going to be prepared for the answer? So I am going to ask you, and I really, really mean it, how are you doing? And if you're not okay, that's okay. Now, obviously, if somebody says, how are you doing? I don't think that that's obvious, that it's obviously an invitation to dump your emotional baggage on somebody. But I think sometimes people get a little bit freaked out when they ask, how are you doing? And I give them like a genuine answer, like, I'm frustrated today, things are blah 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 blah, whatever. And then they start looking at their watch, and I'm wondering, then why the hell did you ask me if you didn't really want to know? So I think one thing to be mindful of, especially, while it is Mental Health Awareness Month, that if you ask somebody, how are you doing, think about your intention with those words. And if they say, I'm okay, then that's fine. Maybe they just don't want to share, maybe they're not ready to give you information. Or if they say, I'm okay, and you follow that up with, no, really, how are you doing? Then at least you'll have invited them to let you know like what's up, right? Because I think that there are some people who, like my mom did, she struggled very openly at home. You know, she laid in bed. She couldn't get out of bed. She would swing from manic to depressed very quickly and sometimes without warning. And it could look like laziness, I suppose, if you didn't understand what you were looking at. But I think when we were out in public, she masked everything so deeply that it became second nature to me to mask very deeply what I was thinking or feeling, because I thought that's what you did. Like, you gave people the bullshit answer when they asked, how are you doing? And I'm starting to understand that it's not their fault, for one, because we're all sort of programmed to ask the question, how are you doing? But we're also programmed to tune out when somebody starts giving their answers. So I guess a PSA, right? To when somebody says, I'm okay, maybe explore a little bit more. And you don't have to say, no, really, how are you? You could say something like, what does okay mean? That works. That's simple enough. It's not prodding. And I mean, it's prodding enough that it's an invitation. Like, I'm genuinely curious. What does that mean? And it's also an easy out for a person to say, nah, just okay. You know, normal stuff. Okay, that's a wall, right? Or at least I would perceive it to be a wall. But yeah, just because my mom was really, really good at the how are you doing? And, you know, great, just da-da-da-da-da-da-da. She's really great at masking her mental health issues. And we teach these things to our children, you know? There are eyes and ears on us all of the time, and we don't think about that. And so when we play this game of like, I'm okay, you're okay, we teach our kids to mask too. And I have raised a couple of champion mask wearers, I'll tell you. Anyway, okay. Oh, it is time. I want to make sure that I get to our thought for the week, our tarot card. As we are doing Which Bedroom, it seems only fitting that we should read a tarot card. Okay? All right, so I've already shuffled these, and I have our thought for the week right here. I want to make sure there's no boobies. Hold on. Okay. Nope. Okay. There's nothing. All right. So our card is the Journeyman. Look at him. Ooh. Cool. Let me see what Beans is being all goofy about. All right. Better get reading through the Journeyman before. I like that he's standing on the dude's head. That's pretty cool. All right. The Journeyman. Oh, I turned right to it. Okay, adventure, independence, polishing of skills, and travel. That's how I get in the summer, man. Lots of adventure, lots of independence, lots of travel. Adventure, independence, travel, a long path ahead, we hope. This card speaks to the need to perfect skills in working and living, but it acknowledges having a sound grounding in the basics. Optimistic, innocent, and willing to learn. Angus also shows us that intuition serves us well, but only if we pay attention to it. Sometimes we are operating from theory alone, and our knowledge may or may not be well grounded in reality. This card does not necessarily refer exclusively to beginnings. It can also signify a progression along a path, moving into the unknown from the known, a new phase in an ongoing process. The card may also represent untested concepts or ideas and suggest a need for balance between the intuitive and the rational as one approaches the unknown. Consider where you're going. What are your long-term goals? What are you doing that is helping you to move toward them? Interesting. Intuition serves us well, but only if we pay attention to it. And I talked before about how you can live from your head or your heart or your gut. What does your intuition tell you? Because we were talking about psychic ability, right? Psychic ability. Because we all have that intuition inside of us that tells us what we need to do. And as ever, I'm always telling you to listen to your head, your heart, your gut, whatever you follow. It's always going to lead you on the right path. And this path, this journeyman, shows us some great adventures ahead. Let's find out what that's going to be, man. I'm excited. I don't know about you, but I'm always excited, especially for summer adventures. But anyways, all right. It looks like I had better, oh wait, I still got about 10, nah, I'll cut it a little bit early just so you guys can get out of here too. I have had a fantastical time. I'm going to finish kitting this up, and I will be working on this as we're going through, you guys. But I thank you so much for hanging out with me. Please hit the like button on your way out. Hit subscribe if you're not a subscriber. That always helps. And if you want to become a member, you can either get videos early or you can join my higher membership and get a monthly tarot card reading if you're interested. I've had some good reads. We've enjoyed ourselves. All right, enough selling you stuff. You guys, it has been amazing. I hope that wherever you are in this great, big, glorious world of ours, that you are having a phenomenal morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Also, a bit of advice. Do not play leapfrog with unicorns. Later.